Hi, it's Mrs. LP here, and today's lesson is going to be about adding and subtracting negative numbers. So you're watching this video because you got one of the questions wrong where you had to add and subtract some numbers and they involved negative numbers. So let's have a look at adding and subtracting negative numbers. Now, there are tricks that you can memorize in terms of negative numbers, but I actually find them really confusing. And I find them, when you have something like 8 plus negative 3, that's quite easy to be like, oh, is a number getting bigger or smaller? Or negative 8 plus negative 3, it's easy to remember that. But then when you get questions like negative 8 minus negative 3, or 8 minus negative 3, sometimes when you're memorizing rules, it can actually get a bit confusing. So for me, I like to use two tricks. The first one is, instead of thinking, does a number get bigger or smaller, I find it helps to actually think, does a number get closer or further away from 0? And the other trick that is kind of linked with that is then I use number lines. Now, I know number lines can be a little bit they can feel a bit easy or a little bit basic because you probably use number lines to do things like 8 plus 3 when you were in a lower grade. But now we're looking at negative numbers. They're actually, I find, the easiest way to do negative numbers. The good thing is you don't have to write out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What I like to do with number lines is I like to just have 0. Hang on, I'm going to pause this video for a moment. Okay, and we're back. Right, so what I like to do is draw a number line, but for the number line, you don't have to draw out all the numbers because there's no point. But what I do like to do is to draw out the 0, and then I put my original number, and then it's just good to remember that whenever you add a negative number, you're just going that way. Just remember that you're going backwards on the number line. It doesn't matter what the starting number is, doesn't matter what the negative number is, you're just going that way on the number line. So 8 plus negative 3, you're going that way, 3 spaces, and you don't need to draw it out to figure it out. 8 plus negative 3, the answer is going to be 5. Okay? So negative 8 plus negative 3, again, you don't have to waste your time thinking about, does a number get bigger or smaller? You just put in your 0, and then you put in your negative 8, it will be somewhere over here, and then plus negative 3. Okay, so again, I'm going to go this way. So you're going 3 spaces that way, and then so your final answer is 11, but it's the 11 before the 0, so it's negative 11. All right. So let's have another go at something like this. So again, negative 8 minus negative 3, all there's 3 minus signs in there, so that can get really confusing, but not if you use the number line. There's your 0, and then your starting line is negative 8. Now, if I'm adding a negative 3, I go that way, don't I? So if I'm minusing a negative 3, I must go the opposite way. So negative 8, and then I'm moving 3 spaces that way. Oh, look where I am. I'm at negative 5. And then let's have another go at this one. 0. The 8 is here. And then remember, if I'm adding a negative number, I go that way. So therefore, if I am subtracting a negative number, I go that way. And I move 3 spaces that way, which means I end up at 11. Okay, so as you can see, number lines are just such an easy way to think about negative numbers, because you don't have to go, oh, do I make the number bigger or smaller? What if it's a negative number? What if it's a positive number? What happens if I cross 0? Don't have to think about any of it. You literally just draw a little number line, figure out which way the arrow goes, and it becomes a super easy equation. So that's why I love using number lines for something like this. Let's have a go at just another one for practice. So what we can do here is I can give you, let's do 3 plus negative 7. Let's have a go at that one. So we're going to be crossing the 0 for that. And then let's just have a go as well at negative 3 plus negative 7 and negative 3 minus negative 7. So have a go at those 3. Pause the video now. and then do the questions and then unpause it and I'll do it with you. Okay. Hopefully you've done the questions now. Let's go through it together. So, got my 0, and then that's 3, plus -7. I'm going to go that way, 7 spaces. So that's go that way for 3, and then it's going to be another 4 here. So this is going to be -4. 3 plus -7 equals -4. Now let's have a look here. Got my 0. -3 is going to be here. Plus -7, so I'm going to move 7 spaces that way, and that is going to give me -10. Okay, and then finally, I've got my 0, and I'm starting at -3. Oh, but it's minus -7, so I'm going to go 7 spaces that way. And then if it confuses you to cross 0, you can split that to 3 spaces, then 4 spaces. So your final answer is 4. So that is how you add and subtract negative numbers. You can, once you get better and better at it, I don't find that I really need to draw the number line out anymore. I can just kind of visualize it in my head. But it is how I do negative numbers rather than trying to think about does a number get bigger or smaller. So hopefully that strategy works really well for you. And I look forward to talking about it with you when we're doing the activities.